I'm Christine. Welcome to the Recovering Perfectionist podcast, where I empower you to develop sustainable habits, challenge society, and take messy action. It's time to align with the universe for the full human experience and redefine what it really means to be successful.
It's too good, the secret is out and wow.
Welcome back to the Recovering Perfectionist podcast, the official podcast of the dance wellness community. I am very excited to introduce to you one of our newest ambassadors, Ryan Lockhart. He is the San Diego Area Region Dance Director, and he is a two-time National Fred Astaire Rhythm Champion with his beautiful wife and a very, very good friend of mine. Thank you so much for being here, Ryan.
Of course. Thank you, Christine.
Yeah, I'm so excited to chat with you. We have so many amazing conversations off camera, and I always say, we got to get some of these on camera for the people.
Well, you do that for a living for sure. So I'm glad to be here and be able to help and talk.
I know. You're just so we've known each other now. How long have we known each other now?
It's got to be almost 15 years or more.
Yeah. We go based off of when you met Danelle.
Correct, yeah.
You and I knew each other at least a couple years prior.
Sure, yeah. So yeah, it's got to be at least 15 or 16 years now.
That's wild.
Time flies, that is for sure.
I know. It's incredible. And look what you've done in that time. You now have this beautiful studio. We just got back from doing your second year of your dance competition, SoCal Dance Classic in San Diego. Just amazing. What does it feel like right now to be like, does this all just feel like a natural progression of what you anticipated in this industry?
You know, I feel very blessed. I feel very blessed with just where things have gone. I mean, sometimes you don't realize when you walk through a door, you have no idea what's going to happen, right? You expect or you hope for the good things to happen, and there's always bumps in the road. But I mean, I think back when I first started in the industry as well too. This was over almost 20 years ago now. Not really knowing ballroom, not really knowing all of what entails, and essentially learning it just from the studio and growing and having mentors. And, you know, there's not many opportunities where you can walk in as a janitor and then walk out as a CEO that, you know, you own a company and you own, you know, there's
I didn't even think about that.
Well, yeah, especially for this dance industry, because, you know, it's not like necessarily you go to college. You go to college and you get your degree. Now, there are definitely people that have gone to college and gotten ballroom degrees, but, you know, our industry is very unique in the sense that we don't have a product. We don't have normal business type of learnings where you have to, you know, supply and demand and how you know, have stock in an industry like that. So, you know, our product really is our ability to say to people, talk to people, plan out things, and then follow through with our ability to actually teach or get them to their goals, like their students.
Right.
So it's a different type of industry. And I really just think I've been just very blessed to have really good people that kind of mentored you along the way. And then, you know, you follow people that are already successful, and then you can kind of do the same thing and follow the success. So,
yeah, I mean, we always say that all the time, like hang around the people you want to be like, whether that's a barista at the Starbucks or the CEO of the company, because those people, it just rubs off on you. You know, you just start to become like those people. Because that's the thing. Your goal was not to become a professional dancer like most people.
Well, no, my first boss who owned the studio that I walked into, like him, my only other job has been flipping burgers. I was working for In-N-Out before I started working as a dance teacher. So, I mean, I did not expect when I walked through, like, actually, I went there because there was a girl in my In-N-Out that was taking dance lessons at the studio that I went to. And she was like, you should come. You know, you've done dancing, you'll enjoy it. So I was like, sure, I'll go check it out. And it was actually my grandmother bought my very first program. It was a 4-lesson program at the studio.
Wow.
And yeah. And, you know, at the end of the 4 lessons, they're like, you know, we're always looking for guys. You know, if you're interested, we can purchase you you can purchase a training program and you can go from there. And I remember my mother saying to me, "No way, they're not going to hire you afterwards. They're just doing this to get your money. They're just, they want you to get a
Mm,
program." And it's true to some degree. At the time, the studio that was there had 13 staff members, so they really didn't need another guy
right.
necessarily. But which I've learned now, when that opportunity arises itself, always want to take whatever you can get, because
Right.
staffing, I think, is one of the hardest things in our industry, right? It takes a lot of years to get
Yeah.
trained well.
Yeah.
And so if you have those opportunities to grab a staff member and or not like to bring them in, take it, right? Even if you
Right.
don't need them, it's always nice to have someone in the wings. And so that's what happened. I purchased my first program. I had to ask money from my parents. I refinanced my car. But I bought like 70 lessons. And
Wow.
I bought 70 lessons, and I took 3 lessons a day, 5 days a week for about 3 months. And I switched my in and out schedule to morning cleanup, which is the worst job ever. It's like scrubbing the
Oh,
floors and cleaning the grills, nasty. But anyways, I did that from 5 a.m. to about 10:30. And then I got cleaned up and I went to the studio, and I would say from 1 to 10, I took my 3 lessons and I just hung around the studio, taking group classes and being a
yeah.
student.
Wow.
But I will say that that crash course as a student provided me with all the conviction I needed to know about what it's like to go through the process from from your first program to learning patterns to doing a performance. To the only thing I didn't do was compete. I didn't do any competitions, which I wish I would
Okay.
have done as a student before,
Right.
but just for the experience. But I experienced every aspect that a student has to go through. So that conviction, I
Yeah.
could say to someone, you know what? I know what it's like. I know I've been in your shoes. I can
Literally.
relate. I can relate with you going through this process.
Hmm.
So that was one thing that I think is incredibly valuable, rather than if they would have just given me a job,
Right.
hands down, off the bat. Right. But
Yep.
again, at the end of the program, they're like, "Hey, we like you. We want to put you on." And that was it. I was in the industry ever since. So,
Wow. That's incredible. I did not know that story. We've known each other for so long. I didn't know. Um,
yeah.
that's so cool. That's so, so cool. Yeah, because you're right. And that makes so much more sense when I see you with your students, um, and your clients. Like you are so in tune to what they're feeling and you're so tapped in and you're so on the journey with them. And listen, that's the role of a professional dance instructor, what it should be. But unfortunately, we don't get that all the time. And you know,
You know, go ahead. Sorry.
no, 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 you go.
Well, I was going to say that there's this line in one of the manuals at Fred Astaire, and it says, as a Fred Astaire instructor, we're supposed to be teachers first and dancers second. Which I always find that correlation really important. Yes, we have to be really good dancers, right? We need to.
Right,
That's our product. But in those roles with your students, you really have to go from a different. It's not about how good I am as
right,
a dancer. It's really about how good I am as a teacher. How do I motivate? How do I get them to experience it? How do I get them to build the desire? Because the majority of students, when they walk through the doors, they're not there for competition.
no,
They're scared just to walk through the doors in the first place.
right,
So we're really about, one, helping to figure out what it is they truly want, what they're really there for. And if we're really good at, building the desire and building like that excitement, then yeah, they'll stick around and they'll do a show. Yeah, they'll stick around and maybe
right,
they'll try a competition. Yeah, they'll go, "Oh my gosh, this isn't just for my wedding. This is now my hobby that I want to do, that I want to spend all of my free time doing, because I've found all the other benefits from what dancing can provide for
yeah,
me."
right.
And that really comes from us as the teachers being able to inspire that aspect versus just showing them cha cha cha.
Right. Oh, 100% agree. It's you're building this lifestyle for them. You're showing them
Right.
that this is something they could put into their world, like you said, a hobby that now they don't want to leave the community that
Right.
has been formed. It's beautiful. So, for those of you who know, most people that are listening to this, they're in our dance world. They know that we have Fred Astaire, we have Arthur Murray, which are the big franchises, and then we have the independent world.
Mhm.
I have spent most of my life growing up in the independent world. My dad owned a dance studio for over 15 years in Kansas City, and it was great. And we didn't know what we didn't know. We just did what we did, you know.
Right.
And then, but we always knew about Arthur Murray and Fred Astaire. They're nationwide, and they open up studios constantly, and they have people in different regions. And so this is you are our first ambassador for one of the
Mhm.
franchises, which is very exciting because I really wanted representation because this is, Dancing with the Stars has helped to blow up our
Sure.
industry in a good way, like in the media and more mainstream. But our franchises, regardless of anyone's political views on anything, the franchises are what are really the consistent basis of ballroom dancing. When most people, when they come into the independent world or they come to a competition, I mean, 80% of the people I talk to are like, oh, yeah, I mean, how did you get into it? I took a few lessons. I saw it on, down the street on a sign, and I took a few lessons at Fred Astaire. You know what I mean? And then they found their way based on their goals and whatever. And maybe they stayed in Fred Astaire, maybe they went independent, maybe they went somewhere else. It doesn't matter. But most of the time, the marketing is coming from the franchises to get people really into ballroom dancing. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, and to me, I've always been part of a franchise. So
Right.
I've always been a part of a franchise. I was never independent. And to me, no matter what, there are good schools and bad schools in every area, right? It's
Totally agree.
usually the individual operators will produce
Right.
what the experiences of that studio is going to be. But the what I've always felt the franchises provide is they provide a system that makes it easier for you to be successful. There's
Yep.
more things laid out from start to finish on a pathway that can help guide you not only as a teacher but as an owner. As how do you get out of your one job to the next? I mean, because really, when it comes to being a ballroom instructor, there's a only so long that we can do the same role in the same
Yeah.
potential, because obviously
Right.
we all get older, and if your body's your livelihood, yes, you can do this for a long period of time. And some people, nothing wrong, that's what they love, they want to teach, they want to be on the floor, and more power to them. But I just always remember being told that you have to have some sort of an exit strategy, right? What's your next step? Because if I'm a 40 lesson a week teacher and I'm crushing it, right? Well, how long can I maintain that same pace? And if
Right.
I can train someone or five people to do what I do really well, that's a lot more lessons being made than just what I can do physically. So,
Yes.
so being able to find a way to have that next step. And the other thing about it is, say I am at a franchise or I am at a studio and I want to be a manager, or I want to take that next step. Well, then the issue then becomes, well, who's going to replace me? Because if I'm the 40 lesson strong workhorse that's making this business run, if I have no one to replace me, there's no way that I can come off the floor, right? So I need three other guys or two other guys that I can help buddy and I can help, grow and develop, that they can now take my place so that I can come off and manage or be more around and
Right.
help and guide and do those kind of
Right.
positions.
Help scale, help do more.
Right.
Yeah, because we call those like the talent and the admin activities. Like there's
Hmm.
only so many things that you physically can do.
Of course.
And then, you can train people to do those things so you can go and do the other things that, you can do to scale and that yeah, absolutely.
And this is to where, again, to me, I think that the franchise, especially like Fred Astaire, can help is
Yeah.
that brand recognition, right? That, rather than going to Ryan Lockhart's School of Dance, well, who's Ryan Lockhart? I mean,
Right.
outside of even the small ballroom area, some
Uh,
people know that name, but the average person, the average consumer, they're not going to recognize that.
no.
But when you say Fred Astaire or that name recognition, that immediately can bring in, oh yeah, well yeah, of course that's where I would want to go to or what I would like to
Yeah.
do. So that's where there's such a huge benefit of also what that comes with that name, and then
Right.
what that comes with that as a company as well too. That really, uh, is a great benefit for those who want to find another avenue of success in this business.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's a really good point. You said you didn't start competing, but you eventually like dove headfirst into competition. Who,
So,
who was your
okay,
first partner?
my first partner was the manager at the studio. So when I came, again, this is, I think, 17, 18-year-old me walking through the
Yeah.
dance studio, flipping
Wow.
burgers, coming back in there. And again, I was, I can't wait to tell this story. Okay, anyways, so they used to
Tell
call
it.
me hover around, because I was young little me was in the studio, not knowing anything, with no all the free time in the world, going, "Hey,
Uh-huh.
what you working on? You working on dance steps? Cool. Can I see? Can I practice? Can I help?" So they used to call me hover around, because whatever they were doing, I was like, "I want to
You were
learn.
hovering.
Show me
Yeah.
exactly."
Oh my God, that's so you. Just
So I
soaking it
mean,
all up.
I was always there trying to learn something, do stuff, and there was the manager, uh, I think Laura Yamamoto, I think her name was. Uh, she was like, she competed and she didn't have a partner at the time. She's like, you know what? I'm gonna pick you and you're gonna be my partner. So I was
Oh
like, all
my
right, I don't
gosh.
know what I'm doing, but yeah. So she was in the
Wow.
business for a long time beforehand. She was the general, one of the managers of the studios. And I'm like,
Yeah.
sure. Little old me is like, yes, ma'am, whatever you say. So
Right.
teach me.
Right. Have
So
no
yeah,
idea what you're getting yourself into.
no idea. Not an idea in the world. But yeah, so and obviously it didn't work. Eventually she had she moved out. Actually, I think she ended up having a kid. So like that. So anyways, yeah.
Yeah.
But the point was, I was like, sure. And then I just kept looking at partners in the studio and doing things. And it wasn't until good 4 years, 3, 4 years.
Mhm.
Probably my most successful partner besides Danelle was a girl named Bree, and she was actually in another studio. So there was a time I was driving up one studio to practice with her, and I was driving another studio to practice with another girl in Smooth. And
Wow.
but yeah, I mean, it
So
really was anything. Yeah,
that's what I was gonna ask is did you always do rhythm?
yeah, mainly rhythm.
Okay.
Yeah, mainly rhythm. I always just thought it was too small, too short. So,
For all the other ones.
all those big, tall smoothies, and I was like ducking underneath their legs and stuff.
Yeah.
So,
That's
yeah,
funny.
no, yeah,
I love that. And then you found Danelle,
I did. Yes, I
who
know.
who
Obviously,
was
you know that story.
who was not supposed to be what it became. It was just supposed to be a dance partner, right?
Yes, of
Turned into
course.
so much more. Kasha knew you, Kasha Kozak, and I
Hmm.
knew Danelle, and Danelle was ready to move to the West Coast to
Yeah.
dance with someone. And I was like, move to Vegas. That's where I am. We can hang out. I'll find you a partner, yada, yada. And she was headstrong, as we know your wife is, very
Yes.
headstrong of what she wanted. And I was like, listen, this is going to take some time to find you the
Oh
perfect
no,
partner.
no,
It doesn't
no.
happen overnight.
She
Not for
was
Danelle.
like, go for it. No, I'm gonna.
Not for
She set
Danelle.
her mind to something.
She manifests faster than anyone I've ever seen in my life.
I still remember the call from Kasha. I was working in Oceanside at the time,
Yeah,
and I just got a phone call from Kasha. It's pretty much said, "Drop what you're doing, go to Emerald. I have a
that's
partner for
right.
you." And she was like,
That's
"What did
right. We
Kasha
brought
say?"
Danelle to Emeralds.
She
Oh
was
my God.
like, "She's the good look, right height. I just don't know if she can dance." So I was like,
Oh,
"That was it." I was like, "She's a perfect match, but I don't know if she can dance. Come up and do a tryout." So yeah,
yeah. She trusted
and
me because I watched Danelle dance with her former partners as an amateur. And
mhm.
I was always very inspired by what she was doing. I always thought she was a beautiful dancer. And so I told Kash, I was like, no, she can dance. Trust me.
Yeah. Well, you
Like,
were there too. What was it? 10-minute tryout, 15-minute tryout.
it was insane. It was
Yeah.
insane. I was like, I remember you coming up to me going, where the heck is this girl been? And I was like, focus.
In Iowa, that's where she
In
was.
Iowa. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you know what? Your journey together has been an absolute pleasure to watch.
Thank you.
I am just so happy that it turned out the way that it did because I think you guys are so compatible and have made each other so much better versions of yourselves,
Well,
both professionally and personally.
I think that's so true in a lot of things, that you
Yeah.
find someone that complements you, right? We are definitely
Yeah.
not alike. We're definitely not
No,
alike.
no, you are not.
Uh, but we complement the things that we're weak at, right? So there's definitely things. I am not the most organized person in certain areas, but she complements that weakness of mine, right?
Yeah.
And being able to do that with your partner, whether it's in business or in the dance relationship or pretty much anything, um, being able to have those compromises and being able to kind of work together on that and conquering, divide and conquer, being able to actually take care of certain things that may be harder for the other to do. So, which is why I think in a lot of cases we've been fairly successful. Because
Yeah.
I do know, like our competition that we were doing, she did a lot of that. The way that she can organize and that she can plan, and she has multiple tasks going on at the same time. She's fantastic at that. But
Yeah, she is really good. I'm really loving watching her step into this new role. It's
mm,
it's really beautiful to see her kind of put all of her creative energy into something new and watch it grow. Because I mean, look at what you guys are doing. I mean, this is incredible. And we didn't even talk about the studio yet, but cutting to the competition, what you guys have done with this in the first year, you were like, hey, we're doing this competition. I would love for you guys to come up. We were like, yeah, oh my God, we're always there to support you guys. We were so excited. And it was incredible. I mean, the students, just the energy, the way that you guys had built out the schedule. I told you I complimented you on the schedule so many times. And then you're like, yeah, the second year, like, oh yeah, we have to, do a party the night before. Like we've grown. I don't know, like you've already outgrown the ballroom in a, it feels like.
well, I think in a lot of ways, being smart about not scaling too high too soon, like being able
Yeah,
to, I mean, I will say having a smaller venue where it feels packed. And I
yes,
actually
I
learned
agree with
this.
that.
I learned this from the dance studios years ago because I can't remember. I was at one studio as a coach. I was coaching lessons at one studio, and it was a large studio, and there was like six ballrooms. But there was like the main ballroom here, and then there was a side ballroom in here, and there was a ballroom upstairs, and there was a ballroom in the back, and there's a ballroom here.
Yeah,
And there was a lot of teachers, and they're all teaching lessons, but they're all in different ballrooms. And
yeah,
so when you walk down the street and you looked inside, you're like, this place is dead. Why would I want to walk in here? Right.
right,
And
right.
I think the first thing I said was like, look, get out of your little ballrooms, get in the front. That front should feel so packed that people go, oh my gosh, that's where I want to go. Right.
Okay.
And so if you have sometimes a smaller comp or event in this really massive building, it doesn't feel that exciting because it kind of feels kind of dead almost. So being able
Yeah.
to know, and of course it's a balance, but yeah, having that high energy, people are excited. You can just have a full buzz, whether it's in the dance studio or in an event or
Mhm.
anything like that.
Yeah, you want it to feel electric. You want people to
Mhm.
want to be there.
Yeah.
But that's, here's the thing. All of our conversations that we have, that I keep telling people we have off camera, that it always end up like this, where you understand all of these. You really did have some wonderful mentors, but you've
Yeah.
taken all of their information and you have executed it in your own personal way and have trialed and errored and figured out what works. But you have all these little things that you tell me all the time. Yeah, like all these things that to me seem logical. To me seem like, well, doesn't
Mhm.
everybody know that? When you and I have these conversations, I'm thinking, well,
Right.
yeah, isn't that obvious? And not to make anyone else feel like we're not on a pedestal or anything. It's more just like that makes sense to me in my brain. And I believe that is strongly why you've had so much success in what you've done. I remember when you and Danelle first opened the studio,
Mhm.
and I truthfully, I had a wonderful upbringing in my dad's studio, but it was also a little traumatizing as an entrepreneur because I watched my dad struggle a lot and watched him tell me every month, I don't know if we're going to be able to keep the studio open. And as an independent or not, I mean, I know franchise owners that feel the same way. So it really didn't matter. But I was like, oh my God, this is such a huge endeavor. I had friends that wanted to open studios, and I was like, it's not as glamorous as you think it is. You got to do group classes and parties. You got to keep the energy going. You got to diversify your income. Like, you got to find teachers and staff. I mean, it took us so long to find, even just a good receptionist that, one of them even stole from us. We've all had these wild stories. And
Yeah.
and then you and Danelle come in, and again, like you said at the beginning, the franchise really helps a lot to help
Mhm.
set you guys up for success because they're there when you're having those 2 o'clock in the morning, like, what do I do? I don't know what's happening, and or just helping you. I think this is a common thing that people don't think as well. Like you said, you're an amazing teacher, you're an incredible dancer, you're like, oh my gosh, I'm a world champion this, I'm a national champion that, and then all of a sudden everyone thinks, oh well, everyone's going to come take lessons with me, because and that's just not how it works. Like being a business owner is a completely different part of your brain.
Well, it is, and I mean, again, yeah, I just always remember this is all from my first owner, Joey, and I just remember him some of the first meetings we ever had. It was like 90% of the people that walk through the doors of your business are not there for dancing. 90% of the people walking through the dance studio doors are not there for dancing. They're there to fill a void in their life, right?
Yeah.
And in the beginning, you have to find that out. You have to kind of figure out, well, what is it? What is that drive? I just came off a bad divorce and I want to kind of do something for myself. I want to lose 20 pounds. I want some exercise. I want to meet someone. I have a wedding coming. So there's all other things that are driving people to come through the doors. And 10% of the people, like, I'll be honest, Danelle was one of them. She walked through the doors of a dance studio, said, I want to compete. I want to own a studio. I want to be a champion. Like,
Right.
that's not normal. Most people don't walk
No.
through the going, yeah, put me out on a competition floor.
Right.
Most people are scared. The hardest thing is for them to walk through the door. Right? They've been
Yeah.
sitting in the parking lot for 20 minutes worrying and getting, nervous
Yeah.
just to walk through the doors of your business.
Right.
And then the other thing that is, people walking through the doors, they already know they have to buy lessons. Right. They
Right.
know they have to pay for lessons. So it's not like I have to sell them on buying lessons. I have to make them feel comfortable. I have to, make sure that they will feel like they're going to get what they are looking for in my studio, that they'll feel safe and comfortable. They'll have a good time, that, so much of this industry is much more about people, understanding psychology of people, being able to talk to people. Right. And really being able to read. And of course, we always say never, judge a book by its cover, that kind of stuff. But in a very short time frame, when you meet someone and that first impression, you've got to really, how can I help you? How can I help you get what you want? And if I can't figure that out quickly, people will move on to find somewhere else that will, right? Because if they come here, and again, I was kind of laugh. I remember another trainer talking about this. And if you have a lady that comes in that wants exercise, and she did her 45-minute lesson and she's not sweating, she didn't get exercise, right? So
Right.
it's like, and if you're doing waltz, da, 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 well, that's not getting her what she came in for, right?
Right.
So,
That's not going to get our heart rate going
that's
at
not going to get
all.
her heart rate up, right? I mean, obviously for us, we're like, yeah, I get, when we competitively do stuff, we definitely work our bodies, but they need to feel right off the bat some sort of change. And so
Right.
those are the things that we have to do really quickly, is make them truly feel something, not just talk to them, not just kind of teach cha-cha-cha, but they have to feel like, man, this is great. I came in. This is so much more fun than going to the gym. I had a great time. I'm going to come back again. I'm going to go to the group class tonight because I want more exercise. Right.
Right.
Whatever that may be. So,
Yeah. Just listening. I think that's what you're getting at is more, I see a lot of instructors that they come in as the expert because they're like, well, I'm here as the expert. I'm going to teach you a skill
mhm.
you don't know that I know. But I think you're right. It's that's not our business at all. We are here. I always say with my students, because again, I grew up in a family studio, so this is just what we embodied was we are here to facilitate the journey of the student, and everyone's journey is different, everyone's desire, everyone's end result is different, based on what they want to get out of dancing. And so if my student wants to compete, great, but if my student wants to, just like you said, come in twice a week, do some exercise, dance with me. My dad had so many students that at the end of them kind of like being able, I mean, you would dance with so many older ladies, and sometimes they would do one lesson on a Tuesday and they would dance with him. And then on Wednesday, they would just meet at the studio and go out to lunch, because
Sorry.
no, you're good. Because they wanted to hang, they just wanted that energy and they became so close and it was just a good friendship. And, like you said, the community aspect of ballroom dancing is just
Well,
on another level.
so, so there's obviously, I mean, to me, the studio should be Disneyland, right? It should be a
Mm.
Disneyland. And what I mean by that is that people go there because they feel better. They had a bad day at work. You know what? I'm going to go to the studio.
Yeah.
because everyone knows my name. They actually, you know, I have a good time. I get
Yeah.
excited. This is my cheers, right? I get to go in. Hey,
Yes.
Susie, it's good to see you. Come on in. Oh my gosh, right? I
Yes, yes,
mean,
yes.
that's what it should be. It should be a Disneyland experience, and
Agree.
it's not about again. It's like the teaching the dancing is the vehicle, but really the road and destination is changing people's lives. I know from personal experience that I have seen people's lives changed through dance, and I
Same.
mean I, I've seen it. Like I have a student that I've been with over 20 years now. She was one of my first students when I first started, little
Wow.
17, 18-year-old me. Started off 2006. I'm a teacher. Here I am, April of 2006. I met this student. And
Wow.
when she first came in, the story she came in was she went to a wedding and they were doing swing dancing. She did a little swing dancing. She thought to herself, you know what? Before I die, I want to learn a little more swing. That was it. She didn't want to compete. She didn't want to do shows. She just wanted to learn some swing dancing. And she came in and she was taking about one lesson a week, just as nice, easy
Yeah.
pace to learn some swing. And I was always like, well, would you like to try? We have a showcase coming out. You want to try? No, 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 no. No, no,
Yeah.
I'm deathly afraid of it. Can't do that. It's like, okay, that's all right. We'll just keep having fun. We'll just have a good
Yeah.
time. But I never
Yeah.
let it go. I always said, hey, we're having another event here. Do you want to try it? Oh, no, 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 I can't. No, not yet. I'm not ready. And I think sometimes what happens is sometimes we they're never gonna they don't want to do it, and so they stop trying. We'd stop asking. And
Right.
really, I mean, a lot of times if a student feels that way, usually it's not that they don't want to. They either maybe they don't feel ready or they don't feel comfortable
Mhm.
or they so there's things that we can do to kind of help them be prepared. That's what, I'll make sure you're going to be safe. I'll make sure you're going to have a great time. And what we ended up doing is I said to her one time, well, Janet, why don't we have another teacher? We'll have two of us and you, and we'll do a routine.
Mhm.
And she was like, well, okay. So she tried it. We ended up having a 3-person routine, and every single dance, she started to do all the different shows with her little 3-person routines. And then it was like, well, maybe I'll try that little mini competition one day. And she loved it. And she was like, well, maybe I'll go to that competition in Hawaii. And she loved it. And it turned out to being not that I just wanted to learn a little swing dancing, but all of a sudden this became really fun, happy place. It became her hobby that she did.
Yeah.
And
Well, it's
this,
like another family. It's like a new, it's like a whole, it's like an additional family that you have now. Because yeah, I mean, Janet is, I love her so much, and she speaks so highly of you. You're like a son to her.
well, there's been a great deal of rapport and trust that was gained, right? And that's one thing I
Right,
think as
right.
well too. For us as instructors, we play a lot of different hats. I'm a doctor. I'm a therapist. I'm a physical therapist. I'm a exercise,
Yeah,
guru. I mean, I do all these different things to help
right.
with my students. And I think in a lot of cases we just have to be aware of, what role do I do? Even though, yes, I'm teaching dancing, I'm really there to help provide an experience. And the better I can do that in any way, I mean, you wouldn't go to your doctor and say, hey, doc, I feel sick. And they say, well, here's your prescription. You go, no, doctor, I'm not going to take that prescription. No, you take your
Yeah,
prescription and you go and you pay for
yeah,
your
yeah, yeah.
pills and you take your pills. And a lot of times, we as dancers or as good knowledgeable professionals, that's what they came in for, right? They came in and said, well, this
Right.
is what I think is what you need. If you said to me that you want to be go to the salsa club, well, if I have enough rapport with you, I can say, well, you need this dance, and this dance. I
Right,
think this is the right path to hit your goal that you want.
right.
But if you don't build the trust and rapport with the student, they're not going to do it to a complete stranger. They won't have the belief in that. But that's where, again, for a lot of us, understanding, what's the right process to take a student to build that rapport, to build that trust, so I can say to them, look, I really think this is the best thing. I think this competition actually will help you grow your dancing. I think to put that
Hmm.
challenge, you're here and you're here, and let's put a challenge down. Let's see, and
Yeah,
let's see how much we can grow from that point to this. And that competition, that's not the end all.
right.
That's the celebration, because
Yeah,
I guarantee you, in the 3 months that we worked towards that comp, you've grown so much because everything you did had value. Every group class you came to had a purpose behind it, right? Because we needed to practice the whatever we're working on for this event. And it's not even a competition, whatever event it is, right?
right.
You want to, we're putting value in all of the time from here to whatever that impending event is, that the celebration should be, look how much we've improved, not that we
Right.
got here, because you can't control the outcome.
Right. Well, that's the thing is you're really trying to showcase that the journey is the experience.
Right.
Right? It takes however long it takes every single day coming into the studio. You're excited. You're excited to see your teacher. You're excited to see your student. You're excited to go to the party. And that's what I think. I've noticed a lot, with our dad's studio. And again, I've had a student that I've danced with now for, I don't even live in Kansas anymore. And he still calls me up and goes, Christine, let's just do a comp together. I'll meet you there. Because
Right.
we get so attached. He was invited to my wedding. Like, we have these people that now we get integrated into each other's lives, in a very healthy way. I think just that they impact us just as much as we impact them, and they now have these journeys that they've built, and a lot of them I've seen have. It wasn't even me that convinced them to do some of these things. It was, oh, I heard that so and so is doing the competition next weekend. I don't know, maybe I'll consider it. Like now they want to do it because their friends are doing it.
Well,
And it becomes a whole thing.
that's the thing about the studios. The studios should be this. When I say Disneyland, it's also
Yeah.
this community, right? Because
Yeah.
you have people. Again, people are in general, I would say, we're followers, right? We will
Yeah.
follow with kind of the masses, right? And if you
Right.
say, when that first student walks through the doors and they're scared because they're afraid everyone in that studio is these amazing dancers, I'm not gonna fit in, I'm this
Right.
brand new baby. But being able to explain to people, look, everyone started in the same place. We have
Yeah.
so many in our community, in our studio, that are in the same position as you. Like, you're
Right.
going to grow together. We have a group class every
Yeah.
night that can fit for you. And all of my students, they participate in these events. This is all for the betterment of your education. We're
Yeah.
a dance school, right? So this community is going to grow together. And then I have students that they've built friends and relationships through the dance studio for years. Like, they
Yeah.
became best friends that they met with this similar hobby, that they go to competitions together or they do events
Mhm.
together. They cheer each other on. I mean, that's
Yeah.
really, again, what should be nice about the studio, is that it produces this feeling of an environment. Versus, I have had students say they go to a studio and they go, oh my gosh, like, the environment here, it feels so competitive. It feels like we're, you know, pitted against each other, when
Right.
really the goal should be that everyone walks through the door, everyone's excited, you're there, everyone, that really good
Mhm.
social community.
Yeah. No, I totally agree with you. Continuing on with the cheering people on, I do want to mention one thing about how wonderful it is as an audience member with your students watching you and Danelle compete in the last few years, before you retired. It's just, they love you so much, and you have been like, to be able to see you guys, going for these big titles and all these things, and they're so supportive, and I mean, we see that with other couples as well. I'm not saying that, but there's just
No, of
something very
course.
special about the way that you cultivate. And again, I didn't grow up in the Fred Astaire franchise, so maybe that's how it is, because it's just so everyone goes and sees each other at the nationals and the worlds and this, that, and the other, versus the independent world. Everyone kind of has their own journey. But it was always so beautiful when you guys would come to Vegas and I would just watch, and all the students were just like, they had signs and they had all the things. And it was just so beautiful to watch them support you guys in such a way.
I,
Be, you know,
I will say, like, with a company, Fred Astaire
yeah,
franchise, when I go to a nationals and you have nothing but Fred Astaire, all the same studios,
right.
you see people, and even my students would recognize students from Florida or from Chicago
Yeah.
that they've seen at the last national, and they've seen at this regional competition. And there's this wider sense of a community that's outside of just your own studio,
Right.
and that is huge in the sense that it's also they support each other. They go, oh my gosh, you did so well, or having this ability to kind of grow. The other thing that I always found is I've always been like this. I reach out to people and I talk to people and I try to, be very supportive. And so I've always had teachers from other areas. If they had a brand new student that was there at their first competition, they'd bring them over, they'd introduce them. And
Yeah.
the benefit to this is I'm not trying to steal their student. I'm not going to try to do anything like that. I'm going to literally build up and develop and help encourage um, that student. And so to be able to
Right.
having a entire company and community that we're there to help each other out. That
Yeah.
should be in whether it's in the studio, whether it's in the multiple studios in an area or across the country, you have
Right.
this general growth of really developing your family and community that I think is why you have such a larger excitement in that sense because
Yeah.
you've touched more people's lives across the way that it really does build up a different feeling that the general being is that we want the success of our family, which our family is massive.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, no, I totally agree. It's beautiful. I think ballroom dancing is one of the most incredible things that we could do on this planet. And I think that the fact that like there are some people who will never even experience it, I think is wild. But it seems like our community is so large, but it really isn't as
yeah.
large compared to the world. But I feel so blessed that, I mean, I was born into it, but at the same time, my dad was an ice dancer. He was not a ballroom dancer. He found ballroom dancing when he moved to the United States, and that's how I got into the studio. I mean, you found it by walking through a door. I mean, it's just incredible
Yeah.
how we've all just kind of come together and then the friendships that we've made through that. I want to know specifically because I keep coming back to the fact that you you have these ways of thinking about things that allow you to really be a fully developed business owner and entrepreneur. You're an amazing dancer. I will say I mean I haven't said that on camera, but you are one of my absolute favorite dancers to dance with because you are not just I know my routine. Like you and I, when we met, we went out social dancing. We just had such a blast. And I really feel like we were dancing just for fun and for ourselves and not feeling like everything had to be so competitive, right?
Well,
Um,
yeah. I
that's the
mean,
most fun.
so that to me, again, that's where I started. I didn't know anything about ballroom. I didn't start competing
Right.
or anything like that. I started social dancing, and that was the biggest thing. I mean, I started at 12 years old. There was a girl in my school that she would go dancing at a studio here in San Diego, and she did swing dancing, and that's kind of what got me started. My grandmother dropped me off at the dance studio. I met my friend and her dad, and we danced at the little studio, some swing. And I learned that,
That's
and
awesome.
that was it. I mean, that's what got me into dancing. It was really just the social aspect.
Yeah.
I remember there was this old man. So I was 12. There was this old man. He must have been in his 80s. His name was Manny. His name was Manny. And I just remember this old guy that you would never thought could walk down the street, but he would get out on the dance floor and he would just cut a rug. And,
Yep.
I'd be there talking with some girl about to ask him to dance. And Manny would come up and go tap me on the shoulder, go, "Hey, Ryan, good to see you." And then walk off with my dance partner. I was like, that
Oh,
old man, he stole I just remember him being so smooth and so
yeah.
like Rico Suave that he just walk up and ask any of
That's
the
so
girls, and
funny.
all the ladies loved to dance with him.
Yeah.
So, but there was just
It's
something about that kind of social confidence and that
I was
he
gonna
could
say it's
just
a special kind of confidence that dance gives
yeah.
you when you really conquer it. It's amazing.
So I thought I always just remember that being like the essence of this partnership dancing was this being able
Yeah.
to have this relationship, this communication that's nonverbal, right?
Yes, yes,
you didn't have to
yes.
say anything. You could just use our communication through that kind of physical contact, and really have a lot of fun. And there's something it's different than other types of dance, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Right.
So to be able to have that interplay between
Yes, the connection
partnership,
between
lead and
partnership.
follow,
Yeah.
right? That's huge.
It's amazing.
So,
It's so conversational and it's so
mhm.
interactive. I have an author that I'm working with right now. It was a former state senator, and she wrote a book called The Dance of Resilience, basically how dance saved her life. And she has now been working to get dance prescribed by doctors and covered by insurance as a way of healing for
there's
dementia, Alzheimer's, preventative measures. It's
There's a
incredible.
lot. There's a lot of
So much
knowledge on
more.
this, a lot
Yeah,
of
yeah,
reports. So my student who was a doctor as well too, she would bring back every time that she had something about ballroom dancing and Alzheimer's and dementia prevention. It is the number one activity, ballroom dancing specifically, because of the amount of neural pathways that we have to
yeah,
do when we are actually dancing. And if you think about it, between having to listen to the music, having to remember the step patterns, having to
mhm,
initiate, lead and follow, having
right,
to adapt on the fly. There's all these things that are going on when we do social partnership dancing,
yeah.
that it is the number one activity.
It's
Um,
incredible.
it really is. It
It's just
really
mind
is.
blowing. Like over other sports. Like she was listing all these other sports, and she's like,
Mhm.
"Oh, ballroom dancing is number one every time. Those others are way below." And I'm like, "What? That's wild."
I think I remember reading one of the reports that I got, and it was like, I think in the 60 percentiles was ballroom dancing for
Yeah.
prevention. And then the next highest was like Sudoku, which was like in the 20s.
Right.
Like it was a
Yeah.
massive difference
Yeah.
between these activities for brain activity.
Incredible. Yeah. So she's having some success doing that. But yeah, for me it's like that's you know me. I'm a type A perfectionist, like always trying to do all the things, organizing like Danelle. And I'm like, the only way for me to be able to kind of like shut off is to not be away from my phone and to just be social dancing, like just
Right.
be in the zone whenever we have. I love that your competition has social aspects of it. Obviously, that's very Fred Astaire because the people come to dance.
Yeah.
So, we want to have those moments between the competitions where everyone can be a part of the party. Um, I have to tell you, I've never told you this, but I kind of want to tell you this on camera. My dad and we go social dancing all the time. I've grown up going social dancing with him since I was like a young kid. And he was always very, competition. And he always loves the hype of people watching him, that's my dad. And so he would always like be a little bit more forceful. I'm like, Dad, chill, calm down, right? We would do swings. I thought I was gonna die. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is it. This is where it ends. and and then I told him we went out dancing a couple times with you, and I was like, Ryan is so smooth and just so chill, and I don't feel like I'm working hard when I'm dancing with Ryan. So then it became the running joke when we would go out dancing, and I'd be like, hey, Dad, whoa, and he goes, sorry, I'm gonna dance like Ryan.
Oh no, gosh. Uh, well, I just will say, like with the social aspect, I mean, I feel unfortunately, with sometimes the what I feel in our ballroom industry with the competition is we don't have enough of just having fun, just
Agree,
enjoying the music.
agree.
In in some ways it becomes so competitive that I only do these routines and these movements and
Yeah,
there's what is this other aspect. And for me, growing up, that was what it was all about. It was all about just improvising, having fun, going out and trying things. And th- to me, I think that's what produces a really good when it comes to lead and follow is that ability to be open to suggestion,
yeah,
sensitive to, and not just I'm man, I lead, but being able to play back and forth within
yeah.
the partnership as well too. So yeah, it's very interesting.
Yeah, it's super fun. So, in just finishing up about kind of pairing off of the dimension Alzheimer's kind of science stuff.
Mhm.
Obviously, this is all about wellness, right? Dance wellness
Right, of course,
community. We're
yes.
really trying to bring some more of that into this world because as much as we say it's all about fun and it's all about this, that, and the other, we do get people, dancers at high competitive levels that are really, we know, are burning themselves out. They're trying to have a family and also get their titles. They're trying to run a business because, in order to have competitive students, you have to maintain. There's so many aspects of our industry that is, I don't think has the support that it needs in order for people to thrive at their maximum capacity. And So in the studio aspect, I do think that you've already mentioned this about the Fred Astaire system, because in the independent world, we really don't have that internal support system to help with, even just things as simple as like taxes, right? Just understanding how to build that business side on the financial end. So we're really trying to create this like mental, physical, and financial wellness. What do you feel though in the dance world in general that you feel maybe is lacking a little bit, or you feel could have some more support, or where you feel like what we're doing here could really gain, some traction, because we just don't have it?
That's a great question. I mean, I think when we're talking about the support system, I think this is again one reason why having a full company behind you
Yeah.
is so beneficial, because if I'm having problems, if I'm having a question that I don't really know or have the answer to, my phone is filled with other people that I can reach out to. That
Right.
I have that support system that's already built in
Yes.
to what the franchise offers, that I can, gosh, man, I'm racking my brain. I'm struggling in this area.
Hmm.
Let me reach out. Who can I
Right.
call? Who can I ask for advice? Who can I ask for, what works in your guys' area? What's
Yeah.
working for you right now? Oh, that works. I have never tried that before. Let me try that.
Yeah.
You just have, because I think again, when we think about our industry as well too, as ballroom dancing, right? There is
Hmm.
so many benefits that our dancing provides that is not about dance. When you think about
Amen.
the social benefits, when you think about the health benefits, when you think about um, you know being able to reach out and connect to people, like we said, mentally, that kind of stuff, exercise, just having good wholesome hobbies, like that's not just about cha cha cha, right? But those are things that people receive, uh, that they may not have realized when they first walked through the door, right?
Hmm.
They thought, I need to do this for my wedding. But I tell all my wedding couples, look, when you came in here, yes, you have to learn for your wedding dance, but how great is it for a brand new husband and wife to have a hobby that they can do together for the rest of their lives, right?
Yep.
Why is it just for the wedding dance that you're going to do once?
Yep.
Right? Why not continue that experience and develop that relationship? I mean, that is so powerful for
Learn
a
how to
couple.
communicate with each other. Like it's so good for couples. I tell the couples the same thing. It's
Right.
wild.
Having, I mean,
Yeah.
because often, he's got golf and she's got, I would say book club, but I don't know how many people are in book club these days. But, you have these two separate
Yeah.
hobbies, but to
Yes.
have one that you meet, I actually had one couple, they used to say it was their face-to-face time. You know what I mean?
I
It was
love
their
that.
face to face time,
Yeah.
twice a week, 45 minutes, face to face. They were in each other's arms. They got to spend that time. I thought, how beautiful is
How
that?
beautiful.
You know what I mean? You have a date night, you come out, you get to spend time together in each other's arms, learning a hobby that when they're 60, they're still dancing. When they're,
Yeah.
for however long, they have that something to do together forever. So
You
I
know what?
just think,
It's getting me thinking about what you're saying, because I feel like that's two different, that's what dance is. Like for me too, dance is a way to feel free. It's my peace, it's my meditation, essentially. But what I'm sensing is that the people running our industry, a lot of the professionals, but even when the students get into and it gets a little bit more high pressure, a little bit more than just let's have fun, that's where I think the support, like the whole aspect of dance and the benefits of it tends to now be like nobody wants to live at Disneyland, right? Because then it doesn't have, like, it's not special anymore. It feels like,
right.
oh, well, now I'm here all the time and I'm getting sick of eating at this restaurant. I'm getting, that kind of thing. So I think that's where, because I agree with you. When I hear you talk about it, I'm like, oh my God, this is why I fell in
Well,
love with dance. This is what dance is. Like, it's
I'll
so
I'll give you an
beautiful.
example. I had a student walk through our doors,
Mm,
and she literally had said, you know, I used to dance at this other place, and I was there 2 years, or no, like 9 months. I was there for 9 months. I was taking like 4 to 5 lessons a week,
mm,
but I was two 45-minute sessions. I did nothing but rumba walks. back and forth, back and forth,
Oh,
back and forth.
yeah.
And she's like, you know, I really kind of gave up on dancing, but I saw your studio because I was driving by and I kind of wanted to give it a shot again.
Mm,
And, you know, I thought at first, how how sad is that? That because she was really excited, wanting to learn to do dancing,
yeah.
and it essentially was drilled out of her. Like, and so I was said, you know, well, let's give it a shot. Why don't we try to see if we can refine the fun in your dancing? Let's just try some dances. And so I set her up with one of my teachers. He had a blast. He showed her new dance steps, just kind of got her kind of back into falling in love with why she was excited about dance in the first place. And all of a
Mm,
sudden she was like, I didn't think I was going to dance again, but I'm having so much fun. Right. And,
I
you know,
love
I'm,
that.
I'm, I'm relearning why I wanted to be in it. And so again, it's not right or wrong to some degree in the sense, you know, of whoever was the teacher. But sometimes if we lose sight of that, you know, what is, you know, taking the time to actually develop the student to grow into, you know, that goal, whatever it is,
Hmm.
rather than taking a, because she was a talented student, I think, and I can see where
Yeah.
this can happen. You get a talented student, you're like, oh, you got to compete because you have
Right.
talent, and
Yes. And you start to dictate their
it goes
journey when in
straight into
reality,
that right off the
yep.
bat. But
Yeah.
really, you know, having the time to develop that relationship and that trust, and then being able to actually, you know, grow it versus kind of just this is where you have to go because you have
Yeah.
talents and you must do it this way. You know, it's like I think
Yeah.
obviously yes, that's, you know, that's a the highest level that we can take our students, but really, again, like I said, that's only 10% of the people walking through the
Right.
doors. 90% of the people walking through the doors are really there for some other reason. Now, if I hit those factors, they might go, wow, I actually like this. What else can I use my dancing with now that I love dance?
Right.
Well, now that you love dance, there's this direction we can go. There's this direction we can go.
That's right.
But, you know, first they have to fall in love with the experience and find that as like, you know, something they want to, what more can I do?
Yeah. Yeah. I totally agree. I absolutely love that. I I know I give you a lot of compliments. I hope that doesn't make you uncomfortable because I just
Of course it
think
does.
I know you're like, stop it, no. I think what you're doing is amazing. Every time I have an interaction with you, it is you really you have taken the blessing and the gratitude that you have received through this sport, and you have greatly amplified it through your execution of what you've done through all of these avenues, whether it be, you know, competing and winning your titles to opening your studio and, you know, regional director and now competition. You've done so many amazing things with it, but truthfully, I see you in your interactions with even just when I saw you at California Open and you came with one student, you know, and it wasn't the whole studio. You make everyone's experience with you so customized and so special and individual. Um, and so many people want your attention. Every time I see you, you get, you know, you're so good at giving people the time, even if you don't have it. And
Well,
I think that's a very
I
important thing.
appreciate that because I know, excuse me, something that my first boss used to always say at the end of these events, it'd be like, you know, he'd always thank the students because without them, right, without them supporting the arts, you know, where would we be? We would be nowhere, right?
Right,
And there was
right.
so many times that, you know, I would think to myself, I was at a competition in Puerto Rico. I'm sitting out looking out my balcony going, I'm 22 years old, traveling to Puerto Rico to compete and dance. Like I would
Right.
never be. There was so many times in my life that I had to sit there and go, I'm getting paid right now to
Right.
experience this
It's
that
amazing.
I have no, there was no way on my own I would ever be there. So
Right.
to me, it was always this things that I had to give back to the students
Yeah.
110% because it was just always this kind of like surreal moment of me being to go, where am I right now? I'm teaching dance lessons. Like this is, you know, I could be
Yeah.
flipping burgers. I think in my head, I was like, this is fantastic.
True
And
story.
yeah, and so, you know, without the support of our students, I'd be nowhere. And it's not because of look how great I am, right? Most of
Mhm.
the, I mean, this is the thing. In my situation, for a lot of it, most of the clientele that I had were higher educated, wealthier, older, right?
Mhm.
Again, I was this young kid. Now I
Right.
knew cha cha cha, right?
Yeah.
But I had to represent something that they would respect.
Right.
And so you really had to put your best foot forward, even in most situations where I wasn't the smartest. I wasn't, the best person in the
Yeah.
room or that kind of thing. I even think about it, probably one of my first big competitions. I'm sitting there at a 5-course meal and I don't even know which fork to use, right? You like, so the ballroom industry taught me how to do fine dining. So there's
Wow. Yep.
so much that I have received from this industry, which
Yeah.
is why I really, truly support the, giving back and making sure that those students and your clients, whoever it is, has the best experience.
Yeah.
And
And now you're
yeah,
paying it forward from your mentors and mentoring this amazing new generation of dancers in your studio and
yeah.
beyond, which is incredible to watch because they are just hungry and excited and they're just so it's so beautiful to
It's
watch them in your, under your wing. It's just gorgeous.
It just means I've gotten old. That's all it means. No, no,
I
but
know.
it is
We'll talk
so
about
nice to see, to be able to kind of instill these ideas into other dancers that again,
yeah,
you
keep
don't
the
have to
cycle
be.
going.
I mean, I say this thing to most new hires, right? I say, or potential hires, do you love puppies or babies? Do you love puppies and babies? Right? Because in all reality, if you really look at our industry, how many rumba boxes have I taught in the course of my career? The
Hmm.
majority of my information and knowledge, my high level of knowledge, is not used, right?
Right.
Except for a fraction of the people that I would actually be teaching. So
Yeah.
the majority of what you're doing is you're taking new people and getting them
Right.
excited and
Right.
teaching fundamentals. And if you don't like that kind of thing, this is the wrong industry for you, really.
Yeah.
Because you have to understand that being able to teach high level information is only because you've built a rapport with someone from the beginning,
Right.
right?
Yep.
Again, there are those few exceptions where someone walks through the door and they've danced for 15 years and they want to compete right off the bat. And then I have to show my expertise.
Yes.
But for the majority of the time, I really have to make them to just feel comfortable
Hmm.
and like motivate and excite them with the brand newness of a waltz box,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
So
Oh, for sure. Absolutely. Thank you so much for doing this. I know you're really busy. I know you came off of your competition. You got sick a little bit. You're coming back. You're
yeah,
excited. And so I appreciate all of the, just you fitting this in. And
of course.
I love having this kind of information available to our community. I think that these conversations are extremely needed. And I value so many of the people in our industry that I have become close with that we have these conversations off camera and then no one gets to benefit from them except us. And so I'm like, we just need to be talking more about these things. I think it's really important. And the way that you look at this industry and how grateful you are to be in it and to be able to pay it forward, I think is definitely an example. And I mean, your studio success is showing that. So clearly you're doing something right. And I was like, we
Okay.
gotta share that because this is valuable information that can really help someone else have that same success.
Well, thank you. Yeah, and I think we mentioned it before one time. I think it was out of Tony Robbins, and I'm sure it was from Zig Ziglar beforehand or something like that. But if you want to be successful, find someone that's successful and follow their footsteps. Right? Don't reinvent the wheel if you don't have to. And
Right.
I do think a lot of my success that I've had was only because I had someone that I mentored or listened to and heard other great people talk about how they were successful as well too, and following along. And so, being able to have those people that you can kind of reach out to and talk to and just being able to follow already guided stepping stones to success
Hmm.
is
Hmm.
huge.
It
So I
is.
can't say I can't pat myself on the back that all these great things that I'm saying is straight from my wealth of my knowledge, but
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
majority of that is all coming from something that I've learned from someone else.
Yeah. And I think that like you nailed it. Like it's about finding those people. It's really hard to, we have to trust in this world. It's a crazy world we're living in right now. And so to be able to trust people and be like, oh, that is knowledge that's going to point me towards success, or they're not lying to me or cheating me or whatever. And I think that's kind of also what I'm trying to do with this community as well, is kind of like do the research and vet the experience and the
Mhm.
knowledge for people, so I could be like, no, you can trust these people. These are people that really are doing the things and they're here to help. And we've got our practitioners and our ambassadors and all of the things, and I think that's really important for people to feel like they can go to a space that has people that already know, okay, this person can help me in this field, in this area, especially as a studio owner, because it's a lot of uncharted territory when you start, as you know.
Yeah,
So
especially without a support system, for sure.
right. Absolutely. Yeah. Is Danelle still there?
She is. She just walked by, but she is getting ready. So she's not
Oh, okay.
prepared for camera.
We love you.
Yeah, there you go.
Amazing. Awesome. Well, listen, if you guys, if you're hearing this and you're not already in our inner
Right in the
circle,
camera.
no, you can go to dancewellnesscommunity.com and you can sign up and be a part of all of these calls and amazing things. And Ryan is a part of this now. We're very excited. Maybe we'll do some more. What's so cool about this, Ryan, is now that when we have an idea of like, oh, we should
Mhm.
talk about this, we can do like a quick little like 20-minute,
Sure.
chat, and then like throw it in the group, and then people can get that conversation started, and then we can, keep these conversations going and really help people understand how to help themselves, right? That's what we're
Cool.
here for. So
Sounds great.
amazing. Thank you so much. And we will see you guys next time.
Very welcome. Thank you so much.